you for your attention, and God bless America.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good morning. Welcome to hour number 2 of Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt. It is the third Thursday of the month. That means the good folks from the Veterans Administration Clinic here in Ocala are in the building with us, along with Joe Martone. And before we get to them, we need to do a little housekeeping. So, Joe, take it away.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, veteran servants and veterans supporters, I guess you want to
You just want to make sure they take care of you when you should go to the clinic. That's what you're right now. You're nosing.
No,
That's what you're doing.
It's the truth. I speak the truth, Thomas.
Well, they did get you vaccinated, so I don't have to worry about you coughing on me with the COVID and everything.
Yes, thank you.
You
Twice.
got some things you need to read.
Oh, yes, the great support of Veterans News. Tom, you're killing me here. Bob Wine's Convenient Gardens Nursery is brought to you, is a sponsor of Veterans News. You maybe read it backwards here. By Bob Wine's Community Garden and Nursery, 2610 Southeast 38th Street in Ocala. When it comes to landscaping, Bob Wines has what you need. Everything from small trees to large trees, mulch, fertilize, and so much more. Bob Wines will either deliver, plant, and guarantee their trees. Bob Wines Camellia Gardens and Nursery has been keeping you blooming since 1952. Want to give them a call so they can tell you how, when, and where to do what? 352-629-5766. That's 352-629-5766. Remember, Bob Wines gives you 10% off if you're a veteran with proper identification. And Veterans News is also brought to you by Hires Baxley Funeral Services in Highland Memorial Park. Hires Baxley has had generations of families honor them with their trust and confidence. They believe it's because for the last 128 years, their team of caring professionals have established a reputation of serving families with excellence and compassion. Hires Baxley currently partners with the Boy Scouts of America Troop Number 72 to properly dispose of decommissioned American flags. They are also a drop-off location for the program Cell Phones for Soldiers, helping to provide minutes that matter and helping heroes home. Hires Baxley is located at 910 East Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala. Or you can call them with questions at 352-629-7171. That's 352-629-7171. Information can also be found at hires-baxley.com. Back to you, Tom.
We're in the studio with Dr. Jose Torres. He is the Chief Medical Officer of the VA Clinic here in Ocala, and he's brought some guests with him. Doctor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And tell us who your guests are that you brought with you.
Well, we're here today with Ms. Barbara Rahim, that everybody know. She's with me every month on the radio.
I'll leave that alone.
Yes. With Ms. Terry McLean, she's a nurse practitioner from Gainesville VA Medical Center, and Ms. Gaddis. She's a social worker from Gainesville VA Medical Center as well. And we're going to be talking about or retaking our last topic of advance directive and wishes and LSD, which is the last wishes that you
We had
have.
talked about this the last time everybody were together. We talked about how sometimes if a person doesn't put it on paper and it's not in their medical records and it's not in the records that the doctors and nurses can see, sometimes you don't know the wishes of that person, and it can affect how family is things given to family, how things are done.
Correct.
And it was something that I was very unaware of.
Correct.
So with that being said, why is it important that what I just said, it all needs to be the nurses, the doctors, everybody needs to know what the patient's wishes are so that then family doesn't have to face those kind of situations? How often is that an issue?
It can quite frequently be an issue. A lot of times if the doctor's family don't know what the veteran's wishes are, they don't know what to honor. They don't know what type of treatments they would want, they would not want. A lot of times it takes a lot of burden off of the caregivers or family. If these wishes are documented and stated, the family knows and they don't have to try to guess what the veteran may want. It's also very important because a lot of people, if they have these wishes stated and they enter end-of-life care, they can utilize hospice services and die and pass away more peacefully in a comfortable sitting instead of being in a hospital.
I told the story last time we were on the air that my father, who was attacked on Good Friday, beaten and murdered actually in Jacksonville, Florida, was a veteran. We did not know until the Wednesday that he passed away. My mother was finally told then, because as a veteran, it said divorced, and the next person to contact in case of emergency, she had been removed from that.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, and it was done in anger. And ultimately, my father, anytime he would do that, he'd check himself into drug rehab. He was alcoholic, so he'd check himself into alcoholic rehab. He would always put her as the person of contact. But in his actual official medical record, there was no person to contact. So he literally, she got there right as he was, right at death. And I was an older teenager at the time. I feel like I was cheated that I didn't get to be there with my father as he was going through this time. Who knows? My voice may have done something that kept him fighting harder or something. You don't know. And I feel like I was cheated out of that. And I wasn't even aware of this situation. And then when they told me about it, I was like, well, that's exactly what happened to my family. We did not even know. I didn't know my dad was even in peril till after he was dead, because there was nothing in his veterans file that said Geraldine is still the contact person, even though they're divorced. Because my understanding is once the divorce happened, she's no longer a family member.
Yeah, he would have to have put in a legal document that said that he wanted her to remain.
And he never did.
And he never did. And most of us don't, we all know we need to do these things, but we don't think, you can't guess when you're going to really need to have it done, right? You have to do it ahead of time, and it's hard to make time for it, but it's so important.
Let's ask Joe Bartone. You're a veteran of the United States Navy. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you for your
You're
support.
a hell of a cook and a pretty good radio guy while you were in the Navy.
One of the two. It depends on the time of the day.
Is your record documented properly so that if at time where it comes where it comes where you might need hospice or something, where it's well spelled out what family members are supposed to be put in the loop and everything?
It used to be. It has to be
It's
updated.
not now.
No,
Has to be updated.
And within the year, it is going to be updated, or someone's going to kick me in my shins.
I may come over there and kick you in your shins just because. This is the second time we've talked about it. You hadn't updated it yet, and I'm not even a family member of yours. But I know that you signed my check, so I need to know you're going to be here. You know what I'm saying?
And veterans actually have to update two things: that advance directive that says who will speak for you if you can't speak for yourself, as well as your living will.
There's that living will again. I never understood that.
Yeah,
Still don't understand it.
That just says like what medical interventions you would want or would not want if you were in a situation where you couldn't speak for yourself.
So in other words, put you on life support or don't put you on life support.
My mother's living will said, she made a point, took me, her and I went to the lawyer, and the biggest thing in her living will was DNR.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing in her thing. She was suffering from COPD. She knew it was a death sentence. COPD is a death sentence. We all know that. And she said, I do not want to be resuscitated if I go. And a DNR is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's very important, though, if you have an advance directive, a living will, a healthcare surrogate, all of that, you also have to have a DNR if you want to have a do not resuscitate order, because they are two separate things. Even though you state in your advance directive that you don't want life support under certain situations, medical providers still have to provide that, and then the family can determine, because of your wishes, to remove that life support. But if you don't want to be resuscitated at all and you have that DNR in place, then they wouldn't
That's
offer
what she
those
did, because
treatments.
we thought we were going to add it to the living will, and then the guy goes, no. You need to document in the living will that there is a DNR, and then we need to do the DNR as well.
Yeah, so there's really the two documents, the advance directive, but then instead of calling it a DNR, it's actually, the DNR is part of another note called the life-sustaining treatment note, and that's the one that your provider, your physician actually completes. That will say your code status if you want to be a DNR or full code, but then it also adds, again, the contact information for the person who would speak for you and their name, as well as some of those living will decisions, like what medical treatments you would or would not want at the end.
All right, I have a question.
So there's two notes.
There's two notes. Now, Tom said he went with his mom, and we did the will or whatever you
She
want
was
to call it.
civilian, though. I can do that with her.
Right, yeah, right. Hard to get by him sometimes. The question is, seeing we're a veteran and we come into the Veterans Administration offices or whatever, do we have to have a lawyer with us, or is that, they're shaking their head, we can't hear shaking heads.
No, you do not.
Thank you.
They do not have to be done by an attorney whatsoever. Even though it is a legal document, a living will, a healthcare directive, a durable power of attorney for medical or healthcare, they do not have to be done by an attorney. As long as they are signed and witnessed appropriately, that makes them a legal document.
And we have that facility available in Gainesville and Ocala?
Yes, sir.
Every VA location has social workers that can assist with advance directives. And the VA form is actually a very comprehensive advance directive form. It has a durable power of attorney for healthcare, where you can designate 1 or 2 people to make healthcare decisions for you. And then it has the living will included, and it gives like 6 different scenarios where you can choose whether you want life-sustaining treatments or not under these scenarios.
Can you go online and get that so you can sit with the family member and like fill it all out beforehand and walk in with it in your hand, or you have to go there and do it?
I don't believe that well, you can go on like, do a search for the VA form, VA Advance Directive, and pull it up that way and fill it out, or you can ask the social worker to send you a copy with all the other, because a lot of times we send supplemental information with it just to help make things more understandable.
There's a reason why I said that, because the backlog of the VA clinics and the hospitals are so great. If it takes 15 minutes off the process, that's 15 minutes another veteran could be taken care of. That way you come in and say, here, I've got all the paperwork here. You just look over it, cross the T's, dot the I's, and then, okay, let's proceed. Instead of saying, I haven't filled this out, and you have to go and hold their hand, quote unquote, and then they have to discuss between each other, well, should I do this, should I? And that's time consuming. Yes,
Exactly.
Yes.
I know you all would accommodate them if that's the way they wanted to do it, but I'm just saying to help the flow of the veterans through the facilities.
Correct. Well, the veterans, if they don't have technology access, they can go to the clinic and ask for a copy of the advance directive, the document, and they can take it home and fill the document with the family members. Also, the social workers are available to assist if the decision is made and you just need to complete the document. You just sit with your social worker. You have the person there to ask the appropriate questions and just finalize the process.
Exactly. In other words, they're there, they filled it out, and did I do it right?
Correct.
Exactly.
Good,
Then the
good.
next step would be, if you want your life-sustaining treatment order also completed, that will require a doctor's appointment, because that is completed by your primary care physician. So your the social worker can let the team know about your interest on the life-sustaining treatment order, or LST, and you can discuss that during your next appointment with your primary care, or the primary care doctor can order or request an appointment just for that.
Right. Okay. Getting on a note here, something's in my head. We had a meeting yesterday, and I just found out that we have over 372,000 people here in Marion County right now. The numbers logically have changed for the veterans numbers. It used to be about 55,000. I presume it's higher right now. So your load is more. Am I correct?
You mean for new patients in the office? Mm-hmm. Well, we have influx and outflux. Some patients, we have patients that are moving out of Ocala, going to up north and changing address there, or they move to another facility or the clinic, say Gainesville, the Villages, or Lecanto. We expect in the new facility or the replacement clinic to have that higher influx of patients.
Okay.
Yes.
More capability of
Well,
handling
yes.
it.
We're going to have, currently we have 9 doctors, including myself.
That's amazing.
And we will have capacity up to 12. But in order to have more teams, the other teams need to be at capacity.
All right. The supporting team
Correct.
members have to be brought up also,
Correct. Yes.
and it's in the budget, I presume.
Well, you need to justify the needs for to hire more employees, of course. Yes, you present that to the director's office and justify the needs based on population and
Well, 55,000. That seems like a big need.
correct. But those 55, we need to see where are they going, because we have some patients that live in Ocala. You have some veterans that are in Marion County, but they go to Gainesville for primary care. They don't go to Ocala. Or they go to the villages, or they go to Lake Canto.
So that takes a little bit of the load off of you. Yeah.
Currently, we have enrolled approximately 10,000 veterans in our clinic.
In that little clinic, a little, I'll call it the hole in the wall. I really don't know how you do it in there. It's like, excuse me, all right, I'm going to use this now. Okay, give me 10 minutes, I'll be done. You can use it, kind of thing. It's like, wow.
Yes.
Wow, it's like a machine.
And not only that, those are veterans that are enrolled in our facility. We also provide care to veterans from another clinics
Ah,
because they stop and ask for care and medical needs, and we take care of their needs. And also, traveling veterans come to our clinic to be seen as well.
oh, the snowbirds.
Yes, veterans that are not enrolled, and for some reason they ask for an appointment or they would like to be seen by a doctor or nurse. Our triage nursing team, assigned triage nursing team, assess the patient, and then if they need referral to see a doctor, then we'll take over.
So
and
like,
see the
like
vet.
I go visit my kids up in North Carolina, Asheville area, and if something happened to me, all I have to do is call them up, or would I call you first, and then you say, hey, he's coming in, or
Depending on the situation.
logically, yeah.
If it's something that require further attention that your doctor here is going to take over, address virtually, she can put a traveling veteran coordinator consult with what you need. You go to Asheville, do your labs or whatever you need to
That's
do,
yeah, something like that.
and she receives the results and she will discuss it with you.
Okay.
If it's an emergency, then you can go to the ER in Asheville and
Oh, yeah. Emergencies 911 automatically,
Correct.
yeah.
well, or the VA Medical Center, whatever hospital.
Yeah.
If you need a follow-up that you need to be seen face to face, your doctor can request a consult through a traveling veteran care coordinator, issue a consult to the services that you need, and they can see you in the other VA, whatever you are. We
Yeah.
just need to know the address where you're going to stay, how long you're going to stay, so they can coordinate care.
These phones now, it's so virtual with the phones. It's the doctors can communicate with you unless they actually have to poke you and check you physically.
Correct.
They can go through your symptoms and everything's okay. Da 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 da. You do labs first, and then
Yes.
about a week and a half later to 2, they actually have an appointment with you. And if your labs are good or whatever, they talk to you via, you look at them, they look at you, and you say, this is good, that's good. You did that wrong or whatever.
Is the silver lining, and I always look for the silver lining in all bad situations, is the silver lining of this pandemic the fact that now people are coming to understand that you don't have to physically go see your doctor. You can take your tablet or your phone, and you can do a lot of stuff with your doctor, with a nurse practitioner or something that is done via conferencing on the phone or something. And not only does it make sense to me because it's easy for doctors to talk or nurses to talk, but I'm also not sitting next to a sick person in a waiting room.
Yeah, and
Correct.
especially when you think about the life-sustaining treatment note, that's a wonderful use of a telephone visit or a video visit. You don't have to go in to see your doctor. You have to have a conversation with your doctor in order for that note to be completed. But you wouldn't have to go into the clinic and take a longer appointment time. And then,
Telemedicine is changed. The pandemic has changed the field of medicine because of telemedicine. Is that fair to say?
Correct. It's a big cultural change for everybody.
Doctors, nurses included.
Everybody.
So if I can tie this all in with one of the advantages of being a patient at a VA facility is, one, you will have documentation of your advance directives, your life-sustaining treatments in the system. And if you go to Asheville, more so now with the pandemic, where you will not have relatives, close relatives there to dictate. It's in the system. The doctors can view that. The relatives will have a copy. The doctors can say, well, we have a document stating so.
I hadn't even thought about how
date,
relatives aren't
so-and-so.
allowed. You know, that's right.
So, you know, coming to the VA facility, you have your documents there. You can feel free to travel somewhere else, but your documents are, ducks are in a row, and you do not need your family to be making decisions there. Your family may be in Ocala and you're in Asheville. It's all documented there.
And that's not how it is in regular civilian hospitals.
no.
Every time you go in, you have to do all the paperwork again, and no one has access. But at the VA, it's durable,
Well,
meaning that it's everywhere.
I just had back surgery. I had emergency back surgery 3 weeks and 2 days ago. And I went to a hospital that is a local hospital here in town that I've been to in the 18 years I've lived here, probably 15 different times. They got me in the system. Yet, when I went, I'm in bad pain. I'm laying in the emergency room bed. Here she comes with a little push cart and everything, and had to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pain. Well, we'll just say it's
It's a pain in your back.
yeah. It's not. Yeah, we'll just say it's a pain in my back. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. But that's not something the VA does. Once you're in the system, it transfers nationwide.
It stays in the
Worldwide,
system.
actually. It's probably at hospitals in Europe and all where there's military. It's probably it'd be there too.
Yep.
You go to
Yeah.
Hawaii, it's there.
Okay, I'm going to Hawaii now. Good.
Once a veteran executes an advance directive and asks that it be put in their chart at the VA, it remains in their chart unless they ask it to be removed. So it never comes out unless the veteran asks it to be removed.
Can I do Joe's directive?
Can you do?
No.
No, thank goodness.
That would be, boy, that'd be. But if your son Dan and I could do your directive, we'd have a good time.
No, the veteran has to do their own directive. They have to be alert and oriented and able to execute a legal document in order to do a directive.
Well,
So you can't do it for
We'd do a
someone.
video of him saying, "I swear I'm the one that did this." We'd make.
One thing in regards to that, though, that's really important about the advance directives is if you are going to take it home like you asked and fill it out, make sure the most important part of that to make it a legal document is the signing and the witnessing of that document. You must sign it in the presence of two witnesses. So all of the dates must match. They're only witnessing your signature. They're not witnessing how you filled
Well,
out the document.
that could be done at the Veterans Administration
can.
or
So
the
if you-
Veterans
But it can be
Clinic.
done in your own home with a neighbor.
You can do it with neighbors
Yeah.
if you don't have other, if you don't want to take it into the VA to do it and you want to mail it into your social
Oh,
worker.
okay,
Yeah.
You
okay,
can
okay.
sign it, you can have your neighbors witness it. But the witnessing and the signing is very, very important for that to become a legal document. So
And
it's
the
very
person
important.
you identify as your surrogate cannot be the witness.
Yeah, your healthcare
You have to have someone else
surrogates
be the
cannot
witness.
be a witness, and it can't all be blood relatives, cannot all be witnesses.
Yeah, I
really?
found that out when my mother made me the executor of her will and everything, and I went with the lawyer. He was like, "Did you have a witness?" And she was like, "No, your son can't be a witness. He's going to be the executor of the will. He can't be the witness."
Which makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
And
Oh,
also,
sure.
another important
Makes sense,
part
yeah.
to that is whoever the dates ought to match. Am I correct here?
Yes.
The date that I sign, whoever is witnessing my signature,
Those dates
has
must
to be
the
present,
same.
and it has to be the same date.
We're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour right now. We'll be back with more Veterans News right after this.